All right, you guys, we're back and we're live. Welcome back to our daily live feed. As you're logging on, if you would like to come work with me, suitsandposing.com is where you have to go. We do hair, makeup, suits and posing, all the fun stuff when it comes to competing. And welcome back after the kind of long weekend. I don't know. I don't think it was really long. After the weekend. Welcome back after the weekend. Hi. Say hello when you log on. When you get on, feel free to type into the comments, say hello. If you are logging on Instagram, we will be screen sharing over on YouTube and Facebook. What's up, Jasmine? What's up, Holly, Gracie, Raven, everybody? What's up? Say hello. So we always wait about 3 minutes or so for everyone to get logged on. I will be screen sharing photos this evening from this past weekend's shows. We don't have any pictures from Toronto, so I can't wrap up Toronto. So yeah, jump over on YouTube. Instagram's cool, like you can watch my face and listen to me. But on YouTube and Facebook, you see the whole experience. So what's up, guys? Welcome. Hello. And while we're waiting for everyone to get logged on, while we're waiting for the notifications to come up, hey, from a plane, I love it. Sharing with your side passenger, right? So our Sizzling Summer Suit Sale opened today, and they are going quick. So this particular suit sale, it is limited to 15 packages, and based on how they're selling, they are going to sell out prior to us closing cart. So if you are interested in purchasing one of these packages at 75% off, you better do it now. See that little QR code right there? That'll take you right to the page. Okay, that'll show you everything. And if you missed the explanation of what's in the suit sale, I went through it on a live last week. I should have brought the link up, so I could have shared that with you. But I went through everything in last week. It's in the on the page too and everything too. And I also posted it up on our Instagram page too, so you can watch it. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Like I said, they are going to sell out. So if you're making the decision, make the decision quick. Yes, DC Pro-Am this weekend. So we will definitely preview that show. Tomorrow night, we will do an extensive preview of the show. I think there's 2 or 3 shows this weekend. There's Mile High and there's DC Pro, and I feel like there's another one this coming weekend. I could be wrong. But I will be at DC Pro-Am. We have several girls in the NPC section. And then I am also doing commentary on the official live stream. So for this particular one, you don't have to listen to my Spotify. You can just buy the live stream and listen to me all day long. The cool thing about what we do with the live streams here in the DC area is we commentate for all of it. So we commentate for the pros, but for the NPC as well. So yeah, packages don't ever expire. When you purchase a package from me, you can redeem it anytime you want. You can redeem it anytime you want. I have girls that are redeeming it from 2020. Yeah, no problem. It's not like they disappear. Once you bought it, you bought it. It's yours. Yep. So, yeah, that's one cool thing about our packages, because stuff like this happens. Like you just said, you got pregnant and couldn't compete. So, like, what do you do, right? No, the package is still sitting there for when you're ready to come back. Yep, for sure. But yes, so this weekend, I will be there all weekend. So feel free to say hi. It is a long day because I do commentary for the men in the morning and then the women in the afternoon. So it'll be a long day, but I got to talk all day long. So I need a lot of these. So y'all know, if you've ever seen me at a show, bring me coffee, bring me caffeine, and we're good. We're best friends at that point. Right? Yeah, Raven's a great example. Yeah, she bought hers in 2017, and then she used it in 2021 for her package that she purchased back then. So, yeah, Orange Rain, right? Yep. Jennifer, no. If you bring me that sewage water, I will spit it in your face. So for those of you that missed it today, Jennifer shared a meme with me, a reel with me in regard to people who like Dunkin' Donuts versus Starbucks. And y'all that like Dunkin' Donuts, we cannot be friends. We cannot be friends. Sorry. Dunkin' is piss water. It is disgusting. I don't know who can drink that. I don't know who can drink that. No. So, yeah, I would much rather have an energy drink. If you can't get me my Starbucks coffee, then bring me an energy drink and we'll be best friends. You did. Raven brought me McDonald's coffee at 4 a.m. She did. I was like, it worked. Hey, beggars can't be choosers at that point. I was happy. Yeah, I bring my own little French press with me. I actually left it at my parents' house when I was staying with them. I left the French press there, so I have to get a new one. I'm glad you just said that. I'm gonna order one on Amazon like tonight because I don't have it anymore. So I gotta get my French press. I can't do hotel coffee either. It doesn't do anything for me. So I bring my own coffee beans, like ground coffee beans, and my French press, and I make it myself. That's the only way I can do it at 4:00 in the morning for hair and makeup, right? Thankfully for DC Pro-Am, I don't have to do that because women are in the afternoon. So I'll be on commentary when the men start, and I'll be going off commentary at noon to go get the girls ready for the afternoon. So I don't have to get up at 4 a.m. this weekend. Yay. Yay me. I'm happy about that. So awesome. I'm glad you got your posing suit. Wonderful. That's fantastic. Yay. So I can't wait to see pictures and stuff in it and posing in it, of course, right? I love it. So with that, suit sale right here. If you want a posing suit too, you get a posing suit in the suit sale. So it's right there. Click on that little QR code right there. And everything is 75% off. So it's the best sale of the year right there. So, okay, this weekend, things went kind of like we thought they were going to, pretty much, right? Ellie did win Toronto. Now, we don't have pictures from Toronto on NBC News, so I can't wrap up Toronto. But what I will say about Toronto is we all kind of assumed that Ellie would win this. It looked like a pretty clear win to me. It was like her and everybody else. But Ellie has been to the Olympia, I think 7 times at this point, 6 times, something like that. So she definitely is one that if she's going into a show, she's going to be a top 2, top 3 contender, regardless of where she is. She's always going to be in that top. And she's been looking really, really good this year. So congratulations to her. Wish I had some photos so I could wrap it up for you guys properly, but we don't have that. So that's kind of what happens at these Canadian shows sometimes. You ever notice that we just don't get the pictures quite as well. So anyway, is what it is. So we're going to talk about Miami and we're going to talk about Vegas today. So we're going to talk about Vegas first because we had just bikini in that one. And then we're going to talk about Miami because we had wellness and bikini in Miami. So let's get Vegas up first, which I think is this one. Is this one it? Pretty sure. Yep. Okay. So no surprise here. Ashley did win it. Kind of assumed she would. But I think kind of the surprise here was that Jessica Wilson actually jumped over Rihanna because Rihanna just came off of a win. You know, going into the show, we said that Rihanna was kind of the front runner because she just came off of a win. Ashley still is a front runner because she's Ashley. You know what I mean? The only reason why I would say that Ashley wasn't the front runner coming in is because she's coming off of a second place versus a win. But it's Ashley, right? She's won this show before. So, you know, it is what it is. I'll be honest with you. When I was looking at videos and stuff that were popping up, I thought Jessica looked phenomenal. And I personally had her winning. I personally had her winning. So we'll talk about that as we get into this a little bit. I'm going to go through the top 5 here, go through some comparisons, and I'll kind of show you where I think Ashley ended up edging out everybody. It's easier to see when you're looking at the comparisons. When I initially saw the videos that were popping up, I thought that Rihanna looked a little bit soft. Not that she was out of condition, but just in comparison to everybody else, I felt like Rihanna was just a little bit it's almost like because she's done like 4 shows in a row. It's almost like she was a little bit tired. So that's what I saw with Rihanna. So I think that's why she slipped. Tara Grier looked really, really good. The one thing with Tara is that she's got a wide waistline. She looked fantastic from the back, but her waistline in the front is what's going to get her every time. So that was where I felt like she kind of dropped. But it was a really, really good top 4. So I was like, she grossed them up. Right. So I'm going to talk about Jessica when we get to her pictures. I'm going to show you what I think it was that made such a big difference. So let's talk about the top 5 though. And the one that was in 5th was Gina right here. So I thought she looked phenomenal too. I've seen some of the videos popping up of her. Let's get a decent front pose up. There's lots of pictures from this show, so that's nice. So let me show this front pose. And I can't really comment a whole lot on their tans and stuff because all of these tans look a little green, but I think it's the lighting. I think it's the actual photos. I don't think it's their tan. So I don't want to say that her tan looked green because I think it's just everyone looked like this. But this is a really well-balanced frame here as far as her upper and her lower half. I'd like to see her a little bit more conditioned through the legs. I think that's probably why she was in 5th versus anything higher. She's just a touch too soft here, and specifically through the legs. Like overall, I think her upper body is right where it needs to be. But I'd like to see her come in just a little bit tighter through the legs here. And I think that would be perfect. But really, really nice shape here. Really pretty look. Overall, this is a really well-balanced pose. I like this front pose a lot. I think it looks like you can tell it's a hard pose to hit, but I don't think, it doesn't look like it's hard. It looks effortless, right? So if we could see just a little bit more conditioning in the quad here, that kind of thing, I think she'd be right there. I think she'd be right on. That's the only place that I'm seeing missing here on her front pose. Let's get a back pose up and I'll show you that. If she can get that, if she can bring that in, I think that she's gonna be definitely a top contender here. Ton of photos. Sorry, let me get through the back pose. Here's one. All right, so here's her back pose. And again, really good pose. I think that this stance is a little bit too wide. I think she needs to come in just a touch with her feet. If you notice, her feet are actually outside of her shoulders. I'd like to see her feet come in about an inch. I think this is a pretty wide angle for her. That would probably help with this overall pose. What I see back here is I see a balance between her glutes and legs. So I think that she just needs to restructure this pose a little bit. And again, I think if she was a little bit tighter through the quad, conditioning wise, I think that would probably diminish a little bit of this, right? So I think it's just a pose thing and a condition thing for the legs. I think her upper body's fine. I also feel like she might be squeezing a little bit here. So maybe just open up the back a little and that would help too. But overall, I just think, again, I think the back pose is just little tweaks in the pose that would make a difference, right? I think that's it. So let's see here. Let's go to 4th place. Which was Tara. So again, Tara's a really beautiful girl, like her face and everything like that, really pretty look. Front pose right here. So you can see here, she's more conditioned. You can see just looking at her legs, she's more conditioned than Gina that we were just talking about. So this is what I was talking about with Gina. I'd like to see a little bit more here. But where Tara's having an issue here is this width in her waistline, right? We need to see more of a V angle here that comes out. Looks like she has a little bit of a hernia here, maybe in her waistline too, maybe a little distension. So it's all, for me, why she's in 4th place is her waistline. So I'd like to see something happen here where we get that waistline to come in. And it's not about being more conditioned, because you can see already she's super lean through here. She's super grainy and everything. So I think the last show, if I remember correctly, she looked a little bit distended in the waistline. And this is a better look. So that this is probably an improvement from that. But it's still where we're getting that 4th place position versus anything higher. So it could be just as simple as a different pose here that could help. But I mean, it's just that when you look at her pose in the front versus what we just looked at with Gina, this is not the same kind of proportions that we just saw in Gina. So we got to get this upper body to open up a little bit, maybe. That might help her to make the waistline look smaller. I don't ever like to tell people to do lat flares because we're kind of past the whole lat flare thing in bikini. But in this scenario, it could potentially help her to make her waistline look smaller if she pulls out a little bit more in her back. Maybe pull her back out, maybe twist the upper body a little bit more. I don't know, just refinagle this front pose. We talked about this a little bit with Ellie a few weeks ago, where she was posing more straight on and people were like, well, she needs to pose more sideways. But I know Ellie's waistline doesn't look as good when she poses really sideways. So actually posing straight on for Ellie is a better situation, is a better look for her. So I think with Tara, that's what she needs to find. She just needs to find what her best front pose for her body and her angles are going to be. And I think it's just a matter of kind of playing with it until you find it, right? Let's take a look at her back pose. Looks like she touched her butt too. Don't do that. I just noticed this. Caught it. Don't touch your glutes. Don't touch your glutes. So from the back, she looks phenomenal, right? This is a really good look from the back. That suit's sitting on her really well. Glutes are nice and conditioned, but not overly conditioned. They got some good full pop. She's got that perfect V from her shoulders into her waistline. This is what I was talking about with Gina, where I felt like Gina was squeezing a little bit. Here you can see she's not. Here you can see that she's got that open. This is a great back pose. Okay. So really well balanced, really well proportioned, great X frame into the waistline, all of that. So for Tara, if she comes in looking like this, she's going to end up in the top 5 every time because of this back pose. It's her front pose that needs some work as far as the waistline. But this, you can't get much better than this. This is really good. This is really, really good. So, yeah, her glutes are right on. Like I said, the conditioning is right there, but it's not over the top. And she's got some fullness, some roundness, some pop there. This is a really, really good back pose. And her hair's sitting on her perfect too. Her hair's V'ing right in, so you don't miss any of that lower back. You see that V, you see her shoulders. This is a great back pose, okay? So you want to emulate this kind of thing if you're trying to do a perfect back pose, right? So then we have Rihanna in third. You get to a front pose for her. Again, I felt like she looked great. I just felt like this probably wasn't her best look. Maybe just a little bit tired, again, back to back to back shows kind of thing. That tends to do that to you. So, again, when I look at this pose, I feel like the pose is right on. I feel like she's just a touch soft. And that's just because the other girls that she was around. When you look at her by herself, I don't think she's too soft. I think she's just a little, again, it's just like the body's just a touch too tired kind of thing. I know she's gotten feedback where she needs more arms, so I can see that, especially when you're looking at comparison shots, you can see she needs some more arms, that kind of thing. And then I heard, I don't know if this is true or not, I heard that she got feedback about her waistline being tighter, but I think her waistline is pretty tight here. I don't see anything wrong with her waistline at all. Where I see it is I just think she looks a little bit, like I said, she just needs a break now. She's done 4 shows in a row. Probably did this show to get some feedback in front of Sandy and get herself up next to, Ashley and things like that too, and see what she looks like. But at this point, I would probably just take a break, let the body relax for a few weeks. 4 shows back to back is not easy to do for anybody, so she still looks phenomenal, still looks great. I just don't think this was her best look. I actually want to say that I think that New York was probably her best look, to be honest with you. All of a sudden my mouse decided to stop working. So that's cool. Did my battery just die? I think my battery just died on my mouse. Maybe. I don't know what just happened. Oh, there we go. Okay. I don't know what I just did. Whatever. Let's pull up a back shot. I don't know what just happened. My mouse decided to do its own thing for a second. Tons of photos. Let's get to a back shot. Here we go. So again, like from the back, shape is fantastic. Nice. I don't know who this person is right here, but you are going to be blocked. Bye. Freaking, I don't understand what you're trying to tell me. I'm getting distracted by these random comments, so they've been blocked. Okay, cool. All right. So here we go. Back pose looks great. Again, I just feel like she's just a touch too soft here. That's it. I think that she's got nice full roundness to those glutes. I think her proportions are great. Perfect. Again, another perfectly proportioned back pose right here. So I wouldn't change anything about this other than give herself a little bit of a rest. Now, I do see a few little tanning issues and things like that. And again, that happens when you're trying to scrub this tan off every single week. So it looks like to me she's having a little bit of a tanning issue, probably from having to redo her tan for the last month, So I do see that here, a little bit muddiness through the hamstrings and stuff like that. So that's also something that people don't even realize. Like your physique could be responding well, but if your skin isn't taking the tan right, you're going to look a hot mess on stage, right? So overall, again, great look. I just think that that she was just a touch too soft for this particular weekend. And then we get to Jessica. So this was a great look physique-wise for Jessica. And I'm going to tell you why I think her one of the reasons why I think her glutes looked so good. But we're going to look at her front pose first. So again, I always go back to Jessica has one of the best front poses in the game. Really well proportioned. Like nothing stands out here, right? Like she just looks really well balanced from top to bottom. Tight, round, full, tight waistline, great V taper. Everything that she's got going on here is great, you know? So I really think that this is a fantastic front pose. And to be perfectly honest with you, I think this was the best front pose on stage that day. I do. It's just really well balanced. The comparison shots for ladies are transitioning back pose, just a line of glutes, right? Yeah. Yeah. And I'm going to pull up the comparisons too, to show you guys a couple things when we look at the comparison shots too. It's a very pretty look overall with her, right? Take a look at the back. I do believe personally that this was probably the best look I've ever seen on Jessica, to be honest, ever. So this is part of the reason why. It's her glutes. So there's a few things I think happened here. A, she got tighter. So she probably has the biggest glutes in the top four. She probably has the biggest glutes in the top four. But they're tight, they're round, they're full, they're not drooping, they're not jiggling. All of a sudden she's got this upper outer glute that she didn't have before. And I think it comes from the suit cut. I think it's coming. She finally found the suit cut that kind of accentuates the roundness of her glutes without making her cover any of the glutes, without showing off her tailbone. You know, there was always little things. Like I said this about her last suit that she was on stage in. I felt like it was too small on the top, where it was showing a little bit of her tailbone and made it look a little bit shallow on top. We don't see that here. This is where you guys sometimes less is not more when it comes to coverage for your suit bottom, right? I think this is sitting up nice and high where it needs to, but it's not showing her tailbone, right? And we don't see a bunch of fabric in the butt crack either, right? That's one of my critiques that I always had for her with her teal suit that she wore all the time, is that it was just too thick through that center part, and I felt like it took away from the roundness and fullness of her glutes. This is where she got it right, finally, right? This is a great suit cut. Now, I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you. I like the pink color better, but I like this particular cut better. This cut's a little bit different from what she had before, and I just think it's really accentuating her glutes the best. I think she finally got this pose really well. And I think honestly, where Ashley beat her on this is that I think her, like Jessica's glutes are actually a little bit too big, believe it or not. Typically, I'm saying she needs more. But when I show you the top four, I think she was actually a little bit too big in the glutes. So let me show you the next. We're going to go to Ashley next. This is how fickle this sport is, you guys. And it's just it just who shows up that day, all that kind of thing, right? Okay, so here's Ashley. And one thing I'll say about this look in comparison to Pittsburgh is I do think this was better than Pittsburgh. What I saw in Pittsburgh with Ashley was I felt like she just was lacking quite a bit of pop, fullness, that kind of thing. I feel like it's back here. This is a pretty good front pose for her. Now, we always have a little bit of an issue with the waistline here. It looks like a little bit of distension here. So that's why I do think that Jessica beat her in the front pose. But you can see here with Ashley, I mean, she's got that roundness in the shoulders back. It's just it's a lot healthier, like pop than what she had in Pittsburgh. So I do think that this is better. I'm not sure what the difference was. You know, one thing I do remember her talking about is that she always has an issue whenever she does East Coast shows. It's hard for her to adjust with the time change and things like that. So the fact that she's back in her hometown in Vegas, that probably really helped with the actual health of her going into the show. So I do feel like she's just got some of that healthiness back versus what I saw from her in Pittsburgh a few weeks ago. So this is a better package here. I personally like her better in red, but that's just me. I know some of y'all love green. I'm a red person. I like her better in red. And I know green is like, has always been her color, but I'm just more of a red person in general. Did I miss her back pose? Hold on. She has a short routine, so I might have missed it. No, not yet. So many photos. You guys, there's so many photos of this show. Okay, here's the back shot. So back shot's pretty good. Lower half, I wouldn't change a thing. Upper half, she's yanked up a little bit. So maybe bring the elbows down just a touch. I feel attacked, right, Jennifer? Jennifer's one of them that wants a green suit like nobody's business, and I keep telling her no. So I think that this is a great shot from her lower half. I think she could relax the elbows down a little bit. I think that would show her delts a little bit better. But overall, really good package right here. And again, she's got that pop back that she didn't have, that I didn't see in Pittsburgh. I see it here. It's a lot better. So again, so maybe it's just a matter of, she's in Vegas, her hometown. She feels more comfortable, all of those kinds of things. So that's right. I tell people no when I tell you it's not the right color for you. So by the way, if you buy the suit sale from me, you get my expertise along with it. That's one of the best things. You're not just picking out what you want. I tell you yes or no. I'm like, I tell you if I think it's a good color for you, if I think it's a bad color for you, if I think that it's a good cut for you, it's a bad cut for you. Like this particular cut right here that Ashley has on her glutes, I feel like Ashley is the only one that can wear that cut correctly. I think nobody else can actually wear this cut right. I think that Ashley's the only one. It looks great on her, looks terrible on everybody else. So that's just my 2 cents with the cut. So the only thing I would change here, like I said, is I'd pull her elbows down a little bit in this back pose. But other than that, I think she looks great. So, but yeah, I will give you my 2 cents when it comes to your suit for sure. 100%. Absolutely. So let's take a look at a few of the comparison shots from this show. The green, yeah. Jasmine's the one that pulled that green off. She won her pro card in that green. All right, so let's take a look at these front poses here. Okay, so here's your top 4. They're all in their front pose, right? So again, going back to what I was saying before, let's take a look at Rihanna here. When you look at Rihanna in this lineup on these comparison shots, it's kind of easier to tell that she's a little bit soft in comparison to the other 3, right? Comparison to the other 3, Rihanna's a little soft, right? Tara, you can see the issue with her waistline here that we were talking about, right? Her waistline is thicker than everybody else on that stage. She's posed a little bit more open here than she was in her routine. I think I like this look better than what I saw in her routine, but I still think we could tweak it a little bit. Maybe take the hip bone and twist it a little bit, bring that glute pop around a little bit. You gotta yank it around. I know it's hard to do, but I think that would probably help there. I do like this particular position of her front pose, though, better than what she did in her routine. So that's for green. Yeah. Amanda, the problem with you is that you turn green with your skin tone, with your tan. So that's why I say no to green for you. Otherwise, if you were able to get your tan dark enough, then I would say green would work for you. But because I know your skin tone tends to have a green tinge to it, I think that's a bad idea with the green color. So there's my 2 cents there. Because I know you and I know your skin. So then when we look at Jessica, see how well proportioned she is here. Like, I just think this is the best front pose in the lineup out of the 4. Do you guys agree with me? Yeah, Raven, you're red. Red as red can be. Team Casper, I know you are. So, looking at the top 4 here, I mean, to me, what do you guys think? I think that Jessica's front pose is the best in the lineup in the front. I do think this is a better pose on Ashley than what she was doing. Again, even what she was doing in Pittsburgh. I think this is a better pose on her than what she was doing in Pittsburgh. We see more shoulder cap on her here, which I think she really needed. And it's not just a flat shoulder cap. It's actually a round, more full muscular shoulder cap. So I do think that she did better here. Yes, Jessica also looks like she's just standing there. Now we all know that they're not just standing there. It's hard to pose like this. But she does look like she's just not doing anything. She looks like she's just there. And that's the whole key, right? That's right. Jasmine did not even choose it. That's right. I do that for a lot of girls. So Just so you know, if you work with me, if you have no idea what to wear, that's okay. I'll pick it for you. It tends to work. It tends to work out pretty well. But yeah, I mean, just looking at this front pose, I mean, I say Jessica wins it, right? Yep. Jessica's well balanced from top to bottom with the fullness too. You know, she's tight. She's not too tight. She's full. She's round, top to bottom. I just think that's her best look. Now, again, I don't have a problem with this purple suit. This is probably my second favorite on her. I like the pink on her better as far as the color is concerned. But I like the purple actually better than the teal she used to wear. So I would say, you know, pink, purple, teal, right? So that's my 2 cents on that. And again, going back to, I like Ashley best in red. But so there's your front pose there. Let's find a back pose. Not here. They're all walking here. I guess we can do this one. This is when they're at the back of the stage, but at least they're all posed. All the rest of them are walking. So let's do the back pose here. Okay, so this is them at the back of the stage, so it's not on the right comparison line, but you can see here, in this particular lineup, I think that Ashley's glutes and Rihanna's glutes are most comparable, and they're the most pop that you see here. And this is what I'm saying when I look at this and I say that Jessica's glutes are almost too big. You see what I'm saying? They're bigger than everybody else's, right? She's just as tight. She's got the fullness there. Her tan is a little bit too light. That could also be why I like her pink suit better, maybe because her tan was a little bit too light here. But of the 4, Jessica's glutes are actually the biggest, right? I've never said that. I have never said that. Not once ever said that. So her glutes are actually the biggest of the top 4. And I think that's probably why she ends up in second versus first here, because she's a little bit too big. The balance is off from the back, right? When you look at Tara's great from the back. I could say Tara's almost a little bit too tight when you're looking at the rest of these girls here. When you look at her versus Ashley, she's a little bit tighter than Ashley. And again, Rihanna's just a little bit too soft here. So, you know, they're going with the middle ground here. Right. So yeah, when Jessica listens to this is the first time I've ever said that her glutes were the biggest ones on stage ever. I promise you, I've never said that. It's a great thing to hear, because that means that what you're doing is working, right? That means that whatever you're working on, which for her was to bring up her upper outer glutes and all of that, it's working. So she did a phenomenal job. And I think a lot of it is the suit cut, but also her conditioning from the back was better at this show. I'm trying to see if I can find a shot where they're at the front of the stage in their back pose. They're all from when they're walking. So let me see. No, they're not all fully posed. It's the only one that's fully posed. So it is what it is. I mean, you guys can see it. So, yeah. So that's where I think Ashley went out on this. She was right down the middle. We're talking 3 bears. She was right down the middle, right? So sometimes looking at the comparison shots really is the best play to be able to see what's going on, right? Okay. So let's move over to Miami now. And we'll talk about wellness first. And then we'll go into bikini to wrap it up. So this was the biggest wellness show yet this year. So this is Joanna Jean. Now, I can't give a ton of critiques on some of these photos because the lighting is so dark. So the unfortunate part is, and there's not a lot of photos either. You can see, like that last show, we had a ton of photos. This show we have upage. So we don't even have her. We have her like fully posed once, I think. and the lighting is really dim on the lower half of her body. So it's really hard for me to give a critique here. Like a lot of these girls, as I was looking at their photos, I was like, man, their makeup does not match their body at all. But I don't think it was them. I think it was the lighting, right? So if I'm looking at this, what I'm seeing is she needs to be better conditioned in the lower half. That's what I'm seeing here. I could be completely wrong though, because of the lighting here. I could be completely wrong. Her conditioning could have been fine in person. And that's why I always say too, if I wasn't actually there at the show, I wasn't there. So I don't know what it looked like in person. But in these photos, I can say it looks like her upper body is really well conditioned and her lower body's not, which means that she's just going to end up looking like a figure competitor, kind of posing in wellness poses is what it looks like here to me. Because she's got a little bit too much delt going on. But again, this could be because the lighting is hitting her more on her upper body. That may not have been the case in person. So you're going to hear me say that a lot when I'm talking about these girls in this particular wrap up, because again, it's just the way that the lighting is hitting them. So when you look at her back pose, overall, I would say conditioning in the lower half. I mean, that's pretty, again, maybe not with the lighting, but pretty clear. I think she needs to be better conditioned in the back. We're not seeing any hamstring lines really. We're not seeing that separation in the back that we see from all of the other wellness girls. I think she's got a pretty decent sized frame on the bottom. She's just not conditioned enough. So that's where I would say she needs to improve. And then maybe when she's a little bit tighter, she might bump up a couple spots. But still, me coming in 5th in the biggest lineup yet, not a bad call. Not a bad look. I wouldn't be upset with that at all. So that's your 5th place. Fourth is Adina. So she just competed in New York. And again, I'm going to say this with a caveat of, let's go ahead and look at her front pose. When I was looking at the comparison shots, she looked like her tan was way too dark. That is a thing, right? If it's so contrasted with your face, like you can see it here with the contrast in her face, her body is so much darker. And it's not even that bad here in the individual photos, but it is when she's next to everybody else. When she's next to everybody else, she's like 5 times darker than everybody else on that stage. So it actually can be a detriment sometimes if your tan is too dark. And I think in her case it was. I think it was too dark. I would still say she needs some more conditioning in the lower half from the front. Waistline is nice and tight, but I would say here in the quads a little bit. And overall, the glam look still needs to improve. I critiqued that for New York, and it still is the same here. Hair, makeup, that whole thing needs to be bumped up in levels to be a little bit more glam. This just looks like a little meh to me. Almost as if she did it herself. I don't know if she actually did it herself or not, but that's what it looks like to me. I think she was wearing red in New York, and I think the red was better. I don't like the pink. I never like pink on blondes. So there's another no color for me. If you're blonde, I will never put you in pink as a blonde, except for Jessica. There's always an exception to every rule. I think part of that is because I don't think Jessica's actually a natural blonde. I think she's just got that balayage kind of thing going on, so it works. But you start getting that too Barbie look, I'm not a big fan. Not a big fan at all. So just saying. I would rather see in red, personally. Just my 2 cents. Back pose. Again, we don't really have a fully posed back pose. So I always hate critiquing when I don't have a full pose, but whoops, hit the wrong button. From the back, I think her conditioning is fine, right? Again, she's not fully posed here, but I think her conditioning is right on here. I would just say I think really her polish needs to come up a few notches when it comes to her tan, her hair, her makeup. I think that's what's holding her back at this point. Again, this tan is really super dark. It's too much. It's too much. It's actually a detriment here. Let's go to Johanna. So this girl's the opposite side of the spectrum. She actually needed more tan. We got a front pose here, though. This one I think is a good one. So you can see the difference in how well we can see her body in this particular tan versus the last tan we just looked at, right? Now she actually needs to be a little bit darker in her tan, but overall, I would take this over the too dark. I think this is a prettier look. I'd like to see it one shade darker, and she'd be good to go. And again, her glam's okay. I saw a lot of really messy glam here at this particular show when I was looking through the photos. I see that a lot at these Florida shows, and I think it's because of the humidity and things like that. Like the skin just doesn't take the makeup as well. I think the hair doesn't stay as well. It gets messy and frizzy and things like that. I see it a lot at these Miami shows just because it's such a humid environment. So that's something you really got to pay attention to when you're going to these shows. Like if you're going to a humid climate, make sure you're not going outside at all, because it makes a big difference. So I think her glam's okay here. It could definitely bump up a couple notches. Especially on the pro stage. I mean, she needs to bump that up. Again, I would say just conditioning in the legs. Upper body's fine. Waistline is good, nice and tight. Just go a little bit tighter in the legs. A little bit tighter. And again, I'm going to preface all this by saying these are photos, not video, not there in person. So I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. I'm not sure what this pose is exactly. Put both hands on your legs. This could have been a transition pose, but this is really the only back pose that we have of her. So I'm not a huge fan of this pose. And again, looking at this, she could be tighter. I think she's got well balanced physique as far as her glutes and legs are concerned, but I think she needs to be tighter. And she, if she posed this a little bit differently, I think it would show her shape a little bit better. So I'm just not a huge fan of this pose. Also, not a huge fan of the suit cut. The suit cut looks like it's cutting into her a little bit. I would change that up a little. But again, this is better. You can see her body a little bit better with this particular tan. You see what I'm saying? Than the last girl we just looked at. So that part she did correctly. I just changed the pose up. And this show really came down to Lily and Tiffany. And Lily came in second. And I think it really came down to a size game more than anything else. Lily's a little bit smaller. We don't have a fully posed front pose here. So I'll go ahead and go with I guess she's fully posed here. Yeah, pretty close. She's just a little bit undersized. I think her conditioning is right on. You can see she's conditioned better through her legs than the last couple of girls I was just talking about. So I like her conditioning level here. I like her waistline, how tight she is through here. I would like to see her relax this arm. I saw this a lot with her arms. So I'd like to see her relax the arm. I know she's not completely posed here because her hand's kind of off over here too. She's not fully posed, but I did see this arm kind of yank out quite a bit. So I'd like to see her relax the arm. And I do think she needs to go a little darker on her makeup. I think the tan is fine. I think this is a really good level of tan right here. She's not too dark. She's not too light. But I think her face needs to be a little bit darker just to blend with the tan a little bit better. To me, this looks a little bit muddy with the tan as well. And it could be because she's competed like 3-4 times in a row now at this point. Like we were just talking about Rihanna. So this could be just a factor. Whoop, my Instagram live is crapping out on me because of the signal. Sorry, guys, but we're going to keep going on YouTube. But yeah, probably the tan could just be a factor of having to do it so many times last month or so. Or it could just be a humidity thing as well. So, but overall, not a bad package for her at all. I think this was actually a really good package for her. I think she just got outsized. Let's take a look at her back pose. And again, she's kind of transitioning here. Not fully posed. So this is a good mix of conditioning and fullness. We talked about this with both Pittsburgh and New York. Pittsburgh, she was a little bit sharper than New York. New York, she was a little bit fuller, but she lost some of that conditioning. I felt like here was a really good mix of the two. I felt like she hit this right down the middle. And I think the only reason why she didn't win this is, again, size. I think size factor here. So let's take a look at Tiffany. Because really, I think that Lily could have won it from the front. The one thing I'm not a huge fan of on Tiffany's physique is her waistline. When you look at the front pose, it's a really good front pose. I mean, she's got good conditioning through the legs, all that kind of stuff. Again, we got some more tanning issues here, that kind of thing. So again, it could be just because she's competed 3 times in a row now, or it could be the humidity, going back to that too. But you can see her waistline here. And this was my critique for her in the last couple of shows as well. The waistline's just a little distended. She's going to have to figure out how to bring that lower back in really tight. And just figure that out so she can compete with the higher up ladies. But this was her best look, I think, outside of the presentation problems, like with the tan. You can see it's a little muddy here, it's a little muddy here, it's a little muddy on the glutes. We got some muddy tans. Again, probably humidity wise is affecting most of that. Let's look at a back pose. We've got one. Here we go. Well, at least everybody's tan was messed up, though. At least there's that. So you can see from the back, she's got good balance between the lower her legs and her glutes. And again, I think that here is where she beat Lily. She's got more glute than Lily, more pop on her glutes than Lily. And that's the main thing. And she just got overall more size. I think they're very comparable when it came to their actual conditioning level. I just think that she had more size. Now, one thing I will say here too is I think she was smart to go with a curlier look on her hair. Again, probably going back to it was humid in Miami. And this right here, she probably did that on purpose. So that she could just kind of go with the natural flow of the hair. I'm guessing. I could be wrong, but I'm guessing that's what she did, which was probably smart. I think a lot of these girls, their presentation details are lacking because of the humidity of Miami. So, but I would have gone the same direction with her winning. She's a little bit more complete from the back versus Lily, but I think it was very, very close. I think I would have given it to Lily from the front, and I would have given it to Tiffany from the back. So, well, this is a glute game, so here we are, right? Okay, so let's move up to bikini for Miami. In 5th place was Marissa, right? We're on 5th, right? Oh no, I'm sorry. 5th place was Janine. My bad. The 5th place was Janine. So this has been pretty consistent for Janine. Janine's been getting that 4th place, 5th place spot, that kind of thing. I think that this was a similar look to what she had at the last show. Conditioning level is good. Fullness level is good. I critiqued her last time on her hair and makeup. Hair is much, much better here. It's a lot more clean and just well styled and everything versus the last show. Makeup is better here too. It's still a little off, but again, I think everybody's was. I was looking through all of the photos and I felt like everybody had a little bit of something going on, whether it's with their tan or with their hair, with their makeup. Again, because it's Miami and it's humid. So I just think that's what happened here. But in general, this is a much better look than what she had at the last show. I think she's nice and round and full in all the right places. I wouldn't have changed a whole lot here. I think this was a really good package for her. All the critiques that I've mentioned over the last few weeks with her, she's been consistently fixing all of those things. So now it's just a matter of showing up and hitting the right show and be right place, right time kind of thing. Let's see if we have back pose. Oh, we got more pictures for her. Oh, look at that. We got extra pictures. Okay, cool. Back shot. Back shot's good. Oop, knocking my mic over. I feel like she's a little flat here. Could stand to use a little more pop for those glutes. Again, going back to, I think at this point, it's a matter of kind of growing a little bit more upper outer glute. So that will make her waistline look a little bit smaller from the back. From the back, her waistline looks a little thick. And that's generally because she just needs more glutes. Just more upper outer pop on that glute, just a higher level on the top. I think your conditioning here is good. I just think she needs a little bit more oomph, and that's more muscle, right? Hair is styled well. Again, we can see her delts, which is good. Covered up a little bit here, but I'm okay with that. We can still see the outside of her delt here. I feel like they cut her hair so that you could see that, which was good. That was smart. And it's clean. So again, it's an improvement from the last show for sure. Just need some more glutes. Need some more glutes at this point. Okay, now we're going to Marissa. So this is Marissa's first time back for a while, and I had to laugh because Marissa messaged me before I even did all of this. And I will be talking about what she messaged me because it's a critique that I give her all the time. We're going to get there. But I felt like this was a much improved look from Marissa. Much better balance from top to bottom, back to front. Overall, did a really good job in her improvement season. Her makeup is great. I wouldn't have changed her makeup at all. One thing I would change here is the position of the hand on this front pose. Tilt the wrist downward so it looks a little bit more natural. This looks a little bit uncomfortable here. The placement of the hand can come down a little bit and break the wrist down. I always tell people to take the wrist and break it down. That looks more comfortable when you do that. So I would do that. And then probably open the stance up a little bit. Maybe lock the knee out, something, so that this just looks a little bit too bent here. So maybe lock the knee out, and then maybe the rest of the pose would probably be all right when she did that. Just a little closed off. I'd like to see a little bit more openness through here. And I think that'd be right. And then again, just relaxing that arm and that arm and that hand a little. But overall, beyond that, the conditioning and fullness is right on. Shape is right on. Just a couple little posing tweaks right there. And we'll go to the back pose, which is where she messaged me about. It's the hair hitting the top of the glutes. It's the hair hitting the top of the glutes. So this was my critique for her all year last year. Need to cut the hair, which she messaged me and showed me she was at the salon getting her hair cut. So we just need to see that upper part of the glute. And when the hair is too long and it hits the top part of that glute, it just cuts off your glutes. So other than that, this is a massively improved back pose right here. I'm curious to see what that suit cut looks like once her hair is up, because I think the suit cut might be up a little high. Like what I was talking about with Jessica and her suit bottoms being too high. Now her purple ones are just right. I think that might be the case here as well for Marissa, but I can't tell because of her hair. So I don't want to say that quite yet. But I think that once she fixes the hair and the suit cut in the back, this is a really good back pose. Really nice pop, really nice conditioning. I wouldn't change a whole lot other than those couple little details. Where she's standing with her feet, her shoulders, all right on. So cut the hair. Let us see where that suit bottom's hitting, and we may be good to go. But that, again, very much improved look for her versus what she had last year. So that's what those off seasons are all about, man. All about that. And then we have Sierra. So Sierra is already Olympia qualified. She won the Optimum Pro. So let's pull this up. I felt like her suit top was too big. They may have done this strategically. I know one of the things that a lot of people talk about is how she's upper body dominant, things like that. So they may have given her a bigger suit top to try to diminish her upper body a little bit. I don't know. But to me, like all this extra fabric out here just looks messy. Looks like it doesn't fit her. I would get rid of all that. And if it's an issue where she's trying to cover this up a little bit, I think that's more a posing thing than it is a suit top thing. But this just feels like it's too big to me. Suit bottom, I would probably bring this strap down a little bit. I think it's a little too high for her. And again, I think they're doing that on purpose. I think they're trying to show more glute. But I think in reality, what it's doing is it's actually making her look a little bit more shallow here. So I would probably bring the suit bottom down just a touch, just like an inch right here. I would bring that down. I think that would better balance her from that particular position. Conditioning is good. Waistline is good. All of that. I just think that we're looking at needing to open that hip up maybe. I want to see more pop on the glute. I feel like the glute slopes. So I would work with this pose a little bit to try and get that upper glute to pop. If she can get that upper glute to pop, I think this is a great pose. I think it's a great front pose. I just want to see the upper glute pop more. So play with it a little bit. Play with the foot positioning. Play with the positioning of that strap a little. Try to get that glute to pop. That's what I'd like to see there. She has a good makeup look too. She did a good job with her makeup look. Let's look at her back. I think we're fully posed here. All right. So yeah, so once we look at the back, you can see here, like, again, this is too high. We're seeing that shallowness of her upper glute right here. So I think that's a matter of pulling this strap down just a little, And I think they're doing this on purpose. Again, I think this was probably strategic because I know she wants to make her glutes look a little bit bigger in comparison to her legs. But I think it actually makes them look a little shallower. I think it's just the placement of that strap. And then the rest of the pose, I think, is right where it needs to be. It's the conditioning is good. We're not too tight with the conditioning. She's got some fullness, some roundness with that pop. The shoulders are popping, all of that. I think we're right on. I think where she needs to improve on this is this suit cut right here, right there. I think if we got that suit cut down a little bit, be right there. So I do like the suit color. I just like to see the suit change a little bit. I'm not a huge fan of the cut and how it's sitting on her. Other than that, though, good, really good look from the back. And then we have Romina. So Romina ended up in second. She was one where, again, her tan was way too dark. Her face was way too light. That's a really big difference right there, right? At this point for Romina, I would take some time off. She's just looking a little bit watery, and she's looking watery every week. So I think that her body just needs a break. I see it through her waistline. I'm seeing it through her legs. I'm seeing it through her glutes. She's still not a bad package by any stretch of the imagination, but I just think she's been better. And I think she needs a little bit of a break. Just like we talked about with Rihanna, I think your body gets to a certain point where it's like you just can't push it anymore. She doesn't need to. She's Olympic qualified. I'm sure she's trying to get feedback, things like that. I understand all of that, but there comes a point in time where it becomes a negative to keep getting on stage. Second is not a bad thing. It's not a bad placement at all. She did fantastic, but I've just seen her better. And I'd like to see this tan fixed again, probably a humidity thing where it just kind of didn't seep all the way into the skin like it should have. And again, when we look at the back, this is where we can see that she's got some tanning issues here too. And she's just lacking from the back, right? Like it's just not quite sharp enough. She's got full roundness. She's always going to have that. But you can see even her back is off as far as her shape is concerned. I think she just needs to take some time to kind of refresh, right? Stop, refresh, allow her body to have a few weeks to recuperate, that kind of thing. Again, it's getting to the point now where it's like, there's no sense in continuing to do this. We got the feedback, we got the win, we're in the Olympia. Now it's time to just kind of relax and make some improvements. And as I said, there's some splotches of her tan and things like that. So that could, again, be from competing week after week after week, right? So take a break is what I would say in that situation. Again, not terrible. She doesn't look bad by any stretch of the imagination. It's just not her best. That's all. And then Krista Bellina ended up winning. So Krista Bellina, I felt like brought a better package versus what she had the last show. And you know what? I critiqued her makeup when we wrapped up the last show. Her makeup at this show, 1,000 times better. And all she did was really calm down the colors, right? All she did was bring in a more neutral lip, more neutral eyes. It wasn't super overpowering, that kind of thing. Her front pose is better. She needs to still tweak it a little bit. The hand's a little too high in her waistline, but it's definitely better than what it was. She's not yanking and pulling and all that kind of stuff like she was the last time. She still needs to relax the arm just a little bit. But overall, this is a much better look, much better front pose than what she had the last show. It's looking a little bit more relaxed. It's looking a little bit like the current front poses versus what we saw last week. Or I think it was last week. That was, 2020 poses kind of thing. So she definitely improved from last week. It's hard to change your whole posing routine in a week. You know what I mean? But she did a good job of tweaking some of these things. And I will say, I definitely like this makeup look on her a lot better than what she had last time. It's just a lot more subtle. It looks pretty versus overpowering what she had last time. Back pose still needs some work. Overall, she's nice and full and round. She's standing up a little taller than she was at the last show, but she's still bent a little. So she needs to keep coming up. She's doing the right thing. She just needs to go a little bit more. Last show, she was bent more. This show, she's up a little higher. And you can see because she's up a little higher, she's actually fuller through the glutes. So she's fuller everywhere. So she needs to stand up taller and let these arms relax down and don't bend quite so much through the knees, right? The last show, she looked flat through the back because she was bending so much through the hamstring or through the knees and through the lower back and everything too. She was bent so much that everything was flattened out. Now that she's standing up, we're seeing more roundness and more fullness, more 3D, right? So that's what pushed her over the edge here and got her the win. At this point with her, she'd probably continue to compete. And I would try to keep fixing these poses is what I would do. I try to get on stage a few more times and keep refining these poses is what I would do. So I think her physique is better than what she's showing. I mean, she got the win. She's qualified. Awesome. Now let's really work on getting that presentation where it needs to be for Olympia time, right? Okay. And that's it. That took an hour. Good thing we don't have pictures from Toronto because we didn't even have a chance to get to Toronto. So any questions you guys had? Anything that you saw that maybe I didn't point out? Do you disagree with anything that I've said? Do you agree with anything that I've said? Any questions? Can you hear my dog barking? And as I'm sitting here waiting to see if any comments come in, like I said, suit sales right here. It is open. It is live. So click on that if you'd like to purchase. It is 75% off our typical rates. This is our biggest, most discounted sale of the year right here. And based on the way they've been selling, they are going to sell out before we actually close cart. So if you want something, if you want one, get it now. Get it now. Okay. Any other questions, guys? Any other questions? No questions? Somebody's always got something to report. Something to agree with me on or disagree with me on. Something. Give me something. Thank you. Thank you for the compliment. I'm looking forward to getting to commentate for the DC Pro Am this weekend. I gotta sit down and do all my competitor research. Get to know everyone a little bit more than what I already do. I'm pretty good with the women. It's the men I don't know very well. Yeah, the tanning thing is a tough thing, guys. You got to really play with it to make sure that you've got the right mix, got the right formula. And I'll tell you what, I did the Miami Muscle Beach Pro years ago, and it's hard when you're in a humid environment. It's really, really hard. My tan was good, but it's like you get sticky just even being in the hotel. So it's difficult when you're in a very humid environment like that. And like what really suffers is the hair and makeup too. So the overall polish of a lot of these looks, it's not great, right? So, all right. So with that, we've been on for an hour, so I'm going to let y'all take off for this evening. Tomorrow we will preview the shows for this coming weekend, and we'll go through them. Overall, for this past weekend, I agree across the board with all the placements. I could see it being flipped, one or two people being flipped, things like that. But I think overall the judges got it right. And I'm looking forward to this coming weekend too for a DC Pro Am, like I said. Oh, for those of you that I'm doing hair and makeup for, I'm getting those schedules out for you tonight. So common skin problem. Oh, okay. I don't even know what that is. I'll have to look it up. So then I know I'm better versed on it. All right, guys. Sizzling Summer Suit Sale open right here. If you want to come work with me, suitsandposing.com is where you got to go. And good. I'm glad you guys are learning from this. That's the whole point here. And like I said, subscribe, like, comment, all those kinds of things. Get us seen in the algorithms because that helps our channel get boosted so that I can do more of this, right? So I've got several other shows planned for this year where I'm going to do commentary on my Spotify live for you. Some of the bigger shows, like Olympia and Tampa Pro, Nashville Fit Show. I don't know what else. There's a handful of other ones. So I'll be doing the commentary on my Spotify. That'll be on the actual live stream, the official live stream for DC Pro Am. So hope you guys have a fantastic evening. I'll see you back here at 8:15 tomorrow night, and we will preview this coming weekend. All right. I'm gonna log off of Instagram first, and then off of YouTube.